Revolution Radio.
On September 1st, Vote Rescue and our coalition, Texans for Real Elections, conducted an exit poll at the Texas Straw Poll in Fort Worth. With almost a 25% respondent rate, we found a discrepancy in one candidate's results, Ron Paul's. We are planning exit polls for the primary and presidential elections in 2008. This is a fun and exciting process in exercising our rights as citizens. Join us as a volunteer with Vote Rescue to monitor those elections and remind the government that elections belong to the people. Become a part of the growing movement to restore elections to the citizens with hand-counted paper ballots. We are winning. Exciting progress is being made, but we need your help. See our website, voterescue.org, for our meeting and action schedule, or call 512-775-3737.
RPRradio.com. Ron Paul Revolution Radio.
Our campaign is all about freedom, prosperity, and peace. The Constitution was written very precisely to restrain the power and force of government and to protect the liberties of each and every one of us.
You want that man in the White House? All right, well, listen up and pay attention. DrSteveParent is laying it down. Go ahead, Steve.
Okay. All right, the next thing that we're going to cover here is we were talking about if you're a two-thirds majority, that you basically control the convention process. Now, of course, I know that some of you may not be a two-thirds when you get there, but, this portion is for the people that are a two-thirds majority. If there's any type of motion that, you just want to save time, because typically these things have been going on for a long time because the Ron Paul people have just dug their feet in and stuck it out and fought for every inch that they could possibly do. And I think that's fantastic, and I'm proud of each and every one of you for doing that. You can actually defeat any motion before it even gets voted on if you are a two-thirds majority. Okay? And at any time when a vote is put to the floor, if it's something that you just don't even want to bother with because it's not worth the time and you want to move on to better things, this is actually called an objection to consideration of the question. Okay? And it's not debatable in any way. And you can basically suppress any main question if you have a two-thirds majority, and that motion will just get thrown out. So again, if you're a two-thirds, and this is something you need to look at in your Robert's Rules. There's a lot of things where a two-thirds majority can actually do, and I would ask you to familiarize yourself with all of them. There's probably about 10 or 15 things in there where a two-thirds controls everything. For the most part, only 50% plus one is the deciding factor. So, look at those things, find out what you can do if you actually control your convention with a two-thirds majority, and trust me, you'll thank me for it later. Okay.
I'm thanking you for it now. I tell you, I can really, really feel the power in this stuff, so let me just stay out of your way.
No, it's fine, Indy. The fact is, there's something else that you need to be cautious of is don't let these people try to table a motion on you. Tabling a motion is basically, a postponement of a motion on the floor, and that's typically done to try and get it put aside so it can be brought up at a later date where they may have the majority of the vote and be able to get it passed or defeated. So, you immediately need to object to that, and then, of course, that immediately gets put to a vote as well if you object to tabling a motion. That's a tactic that is, like I said, typically done to try and get more support to either get something passed or get it revoked. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about, I got to look at my notes. I made a bunch of notes here where I wanted to cover, Indy. Okay.
If you want me to ask questions, I have a few, but if you want to keep rolling, you can.
No, why don't you? This might be helpful, Indy.
All right, great. You listed, Steve, several kinds of votes, standing vote, counted vote, etc. Is it so that these are sort of hierarchies and you want to call for them at different times depending on how important the issue is?
Well, yes, and that's a good question because again, this could take 6 months to go through all this stuff, Indy. So the simple fact is you don't want to make a nuisance of yourself by doing this. Those are really, you want to reserve them when it's not obvious, okay, that someone is actually going to win or oppose your resolution or your vote.
Okay.
You typically want to reserve that when, it's too close to call. And in the video I just posted in your newsroom, people will understand what I'm talking about. Because, again, these people thought it was too close to call between the yeas and the nays, although the chair just said, well, the nays have it. Because the chair was he was running the show. He was actually hoping that people were ignorant of the process and that they wouldn't be able to oppose anything. So, these are the tools we're trying to give you here, is to be able to shoot some of these things down and win some battles along the way just because you have basic knowledge of this process. So, don't do it every time just to be a nuisance because then you're going to run into a problem. And I don't want to get into that, Indy, because that's 20 minutes all in itself.
No, that's fine. Do you want to go on or do you want to take another question from me now?
No, if you want to ask another question, go ahead.
Yeah, I've got one more, only one more at this point. In objection to consideration of the question, I can see that this can be a very, very powerful tool, but how does a group make a decision on, a quick decision, a quick enough decision in order to know when to intervene with this procedure? Well,
the simple fact is once the motion is out there, they're going to know what it's about. And I basically refer to this such as motions of what people are trying to do now to say that we want all the delegates to throw their support to John McCain. Okay, they're going to know right away that that's something that they do not want.
Right, sure.
And I would object to that and don't even waste time on debate on it, so you can move to bigger and better issues.
Okay, so excellent. So if that's not on the agenda at that point on the docket, you can knock it down.
That is correct.
Excellent. Now, you have referred to a video that you posted in the newsroom. I'm looking. Did you post that in the place that says newsroom videos?
No, it's actually a link.
It's just a link. Oh, it's a link. Okay.
It's a link to Daily Paul where it's got the link to the video.
Okay. Okay. I think if you post that link in the newsroom videos, it might show up as a because I'm having a little bit of trouble finding it. There's a lot of people posting in the newsroom right now. In fact, I might ask the callers to hold off on posting in the newsroom until the end of the top of the hour here, so that Dr. Parent can put things in there that he wants to put in.
In the next break, I'll try and get that up in that time.
All right, great. All right, well then, go ahead. Those are all the questions I have at the moment. Thanks for answering them both very well.
No, that's no problem. Something else is, people, it's not every convention that you're going to go into is going to be hostile. We've seen some where they've been hostile. I've heard reports from others where the people were very friendly and cooperative. Now, I don't know what the details are. It could have been they were very friendly and cooperative because they, shot down a lot of things that could have passed if the people just would have known the basic rules of order. And maybe that is why. Or they may just be generally concerned about getting Americans involved in the party, okay, to make the effective changes that need to be made. So you need to make that judgment for yourself. But what I'm going to talk about here is if you're in not such a hostile environment, you can always at any time, if you just have a question, and you typically don't want to do this, you don't want to interrupt someone that has the floor, but you can always ask. And when you do this, you need to say, I rise to a parliamentary inquiry. And if you have a chairman that is actually going to be cooperative with you, he'll ask you what that inquiry is, and just ask your question. He may answer it. Now, what you need to keep in mind, though, is he absolutely does not have to answer it. That's not his job to do so, although it is his responsibility to make sure that the people in the assembly are educated. So they may or may not want to help you, but it's something that you can attempt